So folic acid, now see the folic folium means leaf. Okay, that means this is one of the B complex vitamin which is abundantly found in green leafy vegetables, and it is very very important in one carbon metabolism. What is the meaning of one carbon metabolism? Wherever one carbon transfer is required, folic acid is playing a major role. When we were discussing phenylalanine tyrosine cycle, Ritika and Bhat were there with me in the previous class. So I told you during the synthesis of catecholamines, we have seen one step where SAM was involved. Isn't it, Ritika? S-adenosyl methionine, I said. That is also very, very important for one carbon metabolism. That means wherever one carbon transfer is required, we require THF comes into picture. The active form of folic acid is tetrahydrofolic acid. Okay. So now see, when you just look at the structure of this, you need not memorize any of the structure at all. Just uh, you should know like it is the active form. How is it formed? Like pteridine ring is there, para-aminobenzoic acid. They together form pitroic acid, which combine with glutamate to form folic acid. You need not memorize the structures. Okay, in the presence of dihydrofolate reductase, we will see the active form of folic acid, that is tetrahydrofolic acid is formed. Tetrahydro in the sense we have four hydrogen molecules at fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth position of this folic acid structure. Okay, that is the active form tetrahydrofolic acid, which is actively involved in the transfer of carbon atom wherever there is a necessity of one carbon mechanism, which is, we will see certain examples also. More examples are actually given with methionine. Okay, S-adenosyl methionine. Okay, that also, that question also comes. Okay, so like basically any vitamin we know like it is present in green leafy vegetables, so it is basically absorbed in the small intestine, it is transported to the blood circulation. Okay, and then it is through blood it is going to the target tissues. Okay, usually, only fat soluble vitamins are stored in the liver. Please remember this fact. Water soluble vitamins are not stored in the liver. The fat soluble vitamins are A, D, E, K. A, D, E, K are very well stored in the liver, but whereas B complex and C vitamins are not so much stored, small quantities. That's why you see here folic acid is stored to some extent only. Okay, so that means continuous supply of folic acid has to be given in the body in our daily diet. Okay, then. So the body can, how much it can store at the maximum 10 to 12 milligrams of folic acid, which is sufficient to take care of our body's requirements for at least 2 to 3 months. Okay. The active form of folic acid, we know, tetrahydrofolic acid, that is N5-methyl tetrahydrofolate. This is the active form which is abundantly found in our body. Okay. Now see here, I told you it is helping in transfer of one carbon atom. Okay. Now see here. So the various forms of liquid, this folic acid, which is helping in the transfer of one carbon atom, is as follows. Okay. So this is tetrahydrofolate and one carbon derivative. So N5 formyl. Formyl is one carbon derivative. Okay, and this is our tetrahydrofolate, and the functional group of formyl is CHO. It's an essay question, you have to do it nicely, better, full in detail. Okay, N10 formyl. Formyl means again formate group only, CHO. Only the position of nitrogen is differing, 5th position and 10th position. And farm imino is CHNH pattern. Okay, this is also one carbon derivative attached to tetrahydrofolate, and so on. N10 methynyl, methylene, and N5 methyl tetrahydrofolate. All these are carbon donors. They themselves cannot go and give carbon, they cannot donate. They need some mediator to donate their carbon atoms so that it is giving carbon to the place where it is required. These are all okay. So these are, and this one carbon is being transferred with the help of active form of folic acid, that is tetrahydrofolate. Okay, you have one more example here, beta, like in the form of flow chart. See here, glycine, serine, histidine, etc. This is one carbon moiety. That means they are the donors of one carbon, like in the form of formyl, methinyl, methylene, methyl. These are the different forms of these amino acids. They are converted to these forms. These are all one carbon donors. They themselves cannot donate, so they take the help of this tetrahydrofolate. That one carbon moiety is accepted by some other compounds for the formation of product. Okay, amino acid, glycine, serine, all these. Okay, it's accepted for the synthesis of these amino acids, purines, thymidylate, and choline. Okay, so that is. I hope you understood what I am trying to tell you. Actually, there is SAM, acetylinosyl methionine. I'll try to search this chapter only. I think I will get clear concept. Methionine and carbon transfer. Then we will come back to this page. There you have the list, which is the donor, which is the recipient. Because you have textbooks in your hand, can you check with SAM with S-adenosyl methionine from behind index page, please? SAM, S-adenosyl methionine. I think it comes under sulfur containing. This is vitamin 74. Anybody is trying to check the page? Sam, Imad,
Yes, ma'am.
please check with S-adenosyl methionine. Okay, that is actually, okay, I'm trying to give you the extra, like connected information related to this answer. Methionine. Oh, so many page numbers are there. 97, 343, 359. Try to open 340. Yes, yes. This one. See, all of you look at the screen, but I actually wanted you to open this page 359. Okay. Here, now see, I'm asking, I'm talking about methyl, one carbon metabolism. This is also. Okay. So, the one carbon is going in the form of methyl group here. Okay. S-adenosyl methionine. This is the carbon donor here, okay, which is getting converted to S-adenosyl homocysteine. That's the reason cysteine is synthesized, one of the list we have seen, isn't it, just now? So these are all methyl group acceptors, okay, and this is the methylated product. That means SAM is giving methyl group to guanidoacetate for the synthesis of creatine. This we have seen in phenylalanine, no? Imad and Ritika, norepinephrine is converted to epinephrine. Here also the SAM is involved. Please try to read the papers simultaneously without anything keeping pending. So all these are methyl group acceptors and this is the methylated product. For example, you see here, see this is uh, methionine, yeah, this is S-adenosyl methionine. This methyl group is actually being transferred to this homocysteine and homocysteine is now getting converted to methionine. So this is the methyl acceptor, methyl group, and this is methylated product. This is accepting and this is the one carbon recipient, the final product which is formed like that. Okay. So we'll go back to folic acid page, page number 150. So that is one example like how the one carbon metabolism is so important. Okay, and folic acid is also involved. That is, what is the active form of folic acid? Imad?
Tetrahydrofolate.
Okay. Can you tell me the methyl donors, few examples? Till we go to the fridge. Glycine, serine.
S-adenosylmethionine. Oh, sorry. Okay, glycine, serine. Okay.
S-adenosyl methionine is also correct only. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
These are all one carbon donors. Okay. And these are all recipients. Just now we have seen this choline. No? S-adenosyl methionine is converted to S-adenosyl choline we have seen. Okay. This is one of the examples. Okay, fine. So that is after this. So you should talk about this. Then what dietary sources? Where do we find folic acid? Especially in vegetarian family, that is green leafy vegetables, whole grain cereals, liver, kidney, ACLs. Okay, milk is not such a good source of folic acid. So what happens in case of deficiency? So most common vitamin deficiency, especially we see in pregnant women. Have you ever seen in your family your elder brothers, sisters, or aunts during their pregnancy period they will be taking iron and folic acid medication? Isn't it? Why do they give iron and folic acid? So during pregnancy there is an increased demand of iron, okay, because more and more hemoglobin is required for the transport of oxygen to the growing fetus. Second thing, folic acid is also given to the pregnant mother because folic acid is crossing the placental barrier and it is helping in the formation of nervous tissue. In the absence of folic acid, suppose if mother is not taking folic acid either through dietary sources or through oral medication, then the baby will suffer with neural tube defects. During embryology classes, I gave you few examples of neural tube defects. For example, if
Spina
anterior,
bifida
very good, spina bifida, then anencephaly,
and
isn't it
uh,
better? And
uh,
if
yes, ma'am.
anterior neuropore is not closing, okay, then you can see the whole of the brain also may protrude outside, isn't it? Something like hydrocephalus, anencephaly, spina bifida, all these are neural tube defects which are occurring if there is deficiency of intake of folic acid during pregnancy. Because it is very important for the development of nervous system. Okay, that's why you have to give during pregnancy. Okay, so we have to give to pregnant women, lactating women, women giving milk to the babies, and also women who are on oral contraceptives. These details we have done in physiology, oral contraceptives. And alcoholics are also susceptible to folate deficiency because why alcoholics are defective, like more prone, because folic acid it is combining with alcohol in the GAD and it forms insoluble product and it gets excreted, okay, in the form of urine and also in the fecal matter. That's the reason in alcoholics also you will see there is the demand is more, okay. That is okay. Inadequate dietary intake, defective absorption, use of anticonvulsant drugs like phenobarbital and phenytoin. These are all like epilepsy drugs. People who use all these drugs, they are also, this also will combine with folic acid and they form like insoluble salts which get excreted, because of which we have to give extra supplements in all these cases. Okay. Then folic acid deficiency, decreased production of purines. Okay, what are purines? Adenine,
Adenine
cytosine,
and guanine.
ATGC, adenine and guanine. Okay. So purines and DTMP, it is observed, which is impairing DNA synthesis. That means folic acid is very, very important for purine synthesis. Okay. So due to the block in DNA synthesis, the maturation of erythrocytes is slowed down, leading to macrocytic RBCs. That means for the normal growth and maturation of RBC, also we require folic acid. Deficiency of this will lead to like immature RBCs are coming into the blood circulation. So those immature RBCs are actually macrocytes. They are also not efficient in carrying oxygen to the tissues. Very dangerous. Okay, that is macrocytic anemia. Okay, this we have already discussed, neural tube defects. Okay, folic acid is associated with metabolism of histidine. So farm-aminoglutamate is formed in histidine metabolism, transfers the one carbon fragment. Mm, okay, basically this folic acid is actually required for the One carbon metabolism, we know this. Suppose if folic acid is not there, that one carbon transfer is not occurring, and you will see there will be loss of this FIGLU, farm-aminoglutamate, which is excreted in urine. Okay, that is one. So that is all about folic acid deficiency symptoms. Then, so elevated plasma levels of homocysteine are associated with increased risk of atherosclerosis. All these words we know. See, here all this is associated because of one carbon metabolism. Whenever folic acid is not there, it is associated with hyperhomocysteinemia. So whenever these levels are increasing in blood, then again it will lead to certain risks like atherosclerosis, thrombosis, and hypertension. Okay, beta? Then what are antagonists? The chemical substances which prevent the absorption of folic acid or which will act against folic acid. They are called as folic acid antagonists. We have aminopterin, amethopterin. You should remember betai because it can come as a 3 marks question also. Antagonists, vitamin antagonists, any vitamin. Okay. So here we have two examples, aminopterin and amethopterin. Okay. Like that, you have many more examples also, sulfonamides, but two examples are enough. So that is about the first answer. So we have seen sources, we have seen chemistry, how much is required in the diet, absorption, functions, and efficiency manifestations. Okay. Now question will be framed like the pregnant mother who has given birth to the baby and the baby is suffering with neural tube defects. It will be framed in that way. Our urine is showing high concentration of FIGLU. Okay, anything like that, the question will be designed. After that, you have to do provisional diagnosis and talk about anyhow clue and hint will be given, and then you will have to talk about in detail about this uh, vitamin. Okay, then we will go to pentose phosphate pathway. So pentose phosphate pathway, what is the another name of pentose phosphate pathway? Beta? HMP shunt, isn't it? Hexose monophosphate shunt. Page 270, 381. First we will go to 270. HMP shunt. Pentose phosphate. Carbohydrate metabolism. Oh, actually, this answer is there because now I'm finding this page. All of you just look at the screen. See, there is a two marker with us where we have carnitine. What is asked in carnitine? What is carnitine and what are its functions? Okay, so I'll tell you what is carnitine. So basically, during beta oxidation of fatty acids, beta oxidation in the sense, see, fatty acids are being broken down for the production of energy, that is ATP. Okay, we have different types of oxidations of fatty acids. Alpha oxidation is there, beta oxidation is there, but the most prevalent type of breakdown which is taking place in our body is beta oxidation of fatty acids. Okay, so during beta oxidation of fatty acids, the example what is given in our book is palmitic acid. The palmitic acid is completely, see, one fatty acid like palmitate, palmitoyl CoA, it is broken down. Finally, so many ATPs will be generated. This comes as an essay question, but for here, this 2 marks question, and we are being asked what is the importance of carnitine. So basically, fatty acid breakdown should take place inside the mitochondria. Okay, but fatty acids are present in the cytoplasm. So with the help of carnitine, okay, the fatty acids like palmitic acid that is combining with the COOH acyl CoA, it will get transferred through this mitochondrial membrane. It will be allowed to enter inside the mitochondria. So carnitine is nothing but it's a like nothing but it's a way of transport. That means this chemical substance is helping in the transport of palmitic acid from the cytoplasm to the mitochondrial matrix, because the essential enzymes for the breakdown of palmitic acid are located inside the mitochondrial matrix. We do not have in the cytoplasm. So carnitine is actually helping in the transport of fatty acid. Okay, so fatty acid when it is converted to acyl CoA, carnitine is actually helping in the transfer of fatty acid inside the mitochondria, where the palmitic acid is finally broken down to acetyl CoA. Again, this will enter into citric acid cycle, acetyl CoA, and we will have like 129 ATPs produced during the beta oxidation of fatty acids. So that is a 2 marker. Now going to 270 page, do we have carbohydrate metabolism there? Let us check. 270. Pentose phosphate pathway. Yes, this one. Uh, HMP is also here, hexose monophosphate shunt. The other names of hexose monophosphate shunt is pentose phosphate pathway. Okay, so this is an alternative pathway of glycolysis and TCA cycle for the oxidation of glucose. Oxidation of glucose in the sense breakdown of glucose for the production of energy, that is ATP. Glucose can very well go into glycolysis followed by citric acid cycle, that is TCA cycle. But why is it that it is taking an alternative pathway? Why it has to go into hexose monophosphate shunt or pentose phosphate pathway? Because this pathway will help as our body to produce pentoses. Okay, NAD, FAD, so many important things which are actually required as coenzymes during our metabolic activities are basically generated by HMP shunt. Shunt means it is another route, not the routine route of glycolysis or TCA. Okay, our body is breaking glucose in a different cycle. Okay, beta. So here you have to start with glucose, then glucose 6 phosphate, 6 phospho, glucanolactone. Okay, so instead of going with this lengthy cycle where you have the structures, you can also go with this cycle where only the like substrates names are given, how many carbon compounds they are given, how many such glucose molecules are being broken down here, that is shown. Okay, so just memorize this cycle for, this is always a favorite question of the examiners with the HMP shunt, hexose monophosphate shunt. Okay, so glucose 6 phosphate is converted to 6 phosphoglucanolactone, where 6 NADP are converted to 6 NADPH plus 6H. Okay, then 6 water molecules are added, and see here, see this is 5 carbon compound. Okay, six such things are there. Now they are being broken down to 5C5C. Xylulose 5-phosphate, ribose. So ribose, see, during this erythrose 4 carbon compound is formed, fructose 6 carbon compound, glyceraldehyde 3 carbon compound, pseudoheptulose 7 carbon compound. The significant things what you see here is 5 carbon compounds better. Okay, now once you know the cycle, always whether the cycle is asked or not, always this part of the question is asked. If not in essay for 5 marks. Okay, significance of HMP shunt. Okay, HMP shunt is unique in generating two important products, that is pentoses. Pentoses are generated in this cycle beta and NADPH needed for the biosynthetic reactions and other functions. Whatever cycles you have learned till now in biochemistry, whether it is glycolysis, whether it is any other cycle of carbohydrate, fat or protein metabolism, everywhere this NADP comes through, isn't it? Pentoses are involved. That means where are these pentoses generated? Which cycle helps in the generation of these pentoses? HMP shunt. That's the reason glucose is taking this shunt alternative pathway. Okay. So now importance of pentoses. Few examples, whatever you remember, you can write, or else everything is listed here. HMP shunt hexoses are converted to pentoses. Most important among this is ribose 5-phosphate. Okay, which helps in the synthesis of DNA, RNA, ATP, NAD, FAD, and coenzymes. Okay, so skeletal muscle is capable of synthesizing this pentoses. That means HMP shunt is actively taking place in the skeletal muscle. So NADPH, where is it utilized better? In biosynthesis of fatty acids, steroids, in certain amino acid cycles, examples involving glutamate dehydrogenase, Irrespective of examples given here, wherever NADP, NADPH are involved, in our cycles, what you learn during writing your answer sheet also, those examples only you can copy for this answer. Because the final summary of this answer is synthesis of pentoses. Pentoses are being synthesized. And give your own examples. Is it clear, Beta? Are you understanding? Chavi, Ritika, Hema?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. It is also helping in detoxification of certain drugs. Okay, NADP, NADPH. Okay, those pentoses. It is helping in the phagocytosis, that means killing of microorganisms, where all the cycles will involve this NADPH beta. Okay, inside the RBC, it is maintaining reduced glutathione, which is required to maintain the integrity of RBC membrane. The RBC membrane is not easily rupturing because of the presence of glutathione, reduced glutathione, which is against like how is it formed with the help of this pentose NADPH. Okay, so that is, so in this part of question, in fact we also have this glucose 6 phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency. Just a minute. See here, glucose 6 phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency is the part of question. So this is like he has added to the question. What is the importance of this deficiency? Obviously, if glucose 6 phosphate dehydrogenase is not there, the very first step of glucose 6 phosphate to 6 phosphoglucanolactone would be arrested. So suppose if this step is arrested, do you think pentoses will be formed? The chief, the hero of this cycle is ribulose 5-phosphate. We need this pentoses. So this pentoses, ribose 5-phosphate. Do you think the series of steps can occur in the absence of this enzyme? First enzyme, that is glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase. It is a very, very important enzyme which has to be present to bring about the formation of pentoses. Okay, so if this is deficient, generally the pentoses production will be reduced. Okay, CHG. Is that clear, Ahmad?
Yes, ma'am.
So glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase is inherited sex-linked trait. Sex-linked trait in the sense it is carried in on which chromosomes? Ritika, Chavi, Hema, X chromosome or Y chromosomes, isn't it? So inherited sex-linked trait. Okay. So HM shunt is the only means. This is a repeated point again. Is the only cycle which is helping in the production of pentoses. If this is not there, even the integrity of the cell membrane cannot be maintained. So RBCs keep on breaking, leading to hemolysis. That means the lifespan of RBC would be reduced, leading to hemolytic anemia. Isn't it? Okay, better. There are certain drugs also which will inhibit this glucose 6 phosphate dehydrogenase enzyme. What are those drugs? Anti-malarial drugs like chloroquine, primaquine. Certain drugs are also given. Okay. So because this glucose 6 phosphate dehydrogenase is not there, again integrity of cell membrane is not maintained and it will lead to hemolysis. Okay. So see, this paragraph is actually very, very important. Glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency and resistance to malaria. See, it is interesting to note that G6PD deficiency is associated to resistance to malaria. African people will have resistance to malaria. Why we are talking about Africans? Because Africa, we have forests now. Not forest we have, but my social knowledge I forgot. Sahara desert, is it there? But I don't know. But some forest is there. Desert is different. Okay, so forest it is fully loaded with mosquitoes, but still that African people are not suffering with malaria. Why they are not suffering with malaria? Because they have this G6PD deficiency, and malarial parasite is actually dependent on this enzyme for its parasitic cycle. Okay, because this enzyme is not there, the Plasmodium falciparum, that parasite also cannot multiply inside the RBC. So this is one of the protection thing. which that people of that area have adopted naturally, okay, which will help them to overcome against malaria. Okay, so of course the lifespan of RBC may be reduced, but still because of that particular type of adaptation of that particular place, you will see they are well protected from malaria because of this G6PD deficiency. Okay. Now, there is in this HMP shunt one more genetic disorder is there associated with this alteration in trans ketolase activity. One of the enzyme what we have in our cycle, suppose if this is not functioning, then it is reducing its affinity with thymine pyrophosphate is a biochemical lesion. That means here because of the deficiency of trans ketolase, you will see the byproducts before that will be accumulating and it will lead to a disorder related to CNS, that is Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome, where the person will suffer with loss of memory, partial paralysis. Okay, especially we see with alcoholics also, whose diets are vitamin deficient. People who take alcohol and also eat well, they are less prone for pernicious anemia than the people who are purely alcoholic. They go on drinking without any food. They will have this Wernicke-Korsakoff type of syndrome more when you compare with people who drink and eat. Okay, beta? That is about the second answer. So next we will go to the electron transport chain, 226 page. Let us see the question. Electron transport chain schematic representation is being asked. Sites of ATP generation and inhibitors. Okay. Only 2 minutes are left over, beta, and this answer there may be some interruption. It is a, though it has come as 4 or 5 marks, it's an essay question. Better I will send the link again. Only 1 minute is left over. Please join fast.